So before we start making our sculptures, we have to come up with our raw materials, and we're going to use we're going to use a toilet paper tube. You can also use a paper towel tube. You'll get more out of it. But what I do when I'm doing this is I will gather several and I will cut them all at the same time. So you saw what I did right here is I flattened it. And now I'm going to take a ruler and I am going to make 1/2 inch marks. So it's, this part is fairly straightforward. Then what I'm going to do is with my scissors. Also, notice what I'm doing is I'm trying to get as much cut at the same time. So I'm kind of sticking this cardboard like right in there so I can go in one cut just like that. And then, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. The nice thing about this is that all of your materials are going to be the exact same size because they all came from the same thing. So when I have this, you can see what I've done here is I've got a whole bowl of these, so I can really go to town, right? So what I did is I picked six pieces. I don't really know what to call these pieces, I guess. And I'm going to put them together, and I'm going to put a little bit of glue there, a little bit of glue there. And then I am going to use a binder clip. I use binder clips because I don't have clothespins. Clothespins, I think when I've done this before and I've used them, I think clothespins are actually a little bit easier. Partly just because my fingers are big and I'll show you what happens. You kind of run out of room a little bit. You don't run out of room. It gets real congested. Like right here, you can see like that's 3 binder clips in a really small area. You can glue both sides. Like that first one, I put glue on both sides, or just one at a time. Your last piece, you gotta have 2. You gotta put glue on both sides. If it ever gets too gloppy like this, you can just take your finger and kind of smooth it out. Then you need 2 binder clips for this last one. And just gonna try to get it in there. This is what I mean. It gets a little tight, a little congested. But then this is great. You let this sit for a little bit and then it'll dry. So if you don't have binder clips and you don't have clothespins, you can use tape. I made one right here that's all in tape. It kind of looks cool. I used the blue painter's tape, so it makes kind of a nice pattern. This one I cut it to be a 1/4 inch thick. This is a 1/2 inch thick. So you can see, it's thinner. It's great. It makes it, there's pluses and minuses to both. So it's kind of whatever you feel like. You do get more out of when you do a 1/4 inch. But it can be just a little bit more fragile. But it's a cool thing. Here's one where I made the initial 6 petal flower, just like this. I pulled the one over that I was using. And then what I did is I added extra ones in there, and it starts to make a pretty cool pattern. This example, I made 4 12 petal flowers, and then I glued them together. So then they're gonna turn into this cool thing. But my absolute favorite thing to do with this is to just make a really cool organic shape. And that's when you just you start to come up with, you just kind of put them wherever it makes sense intuitively. when I do this, I don't have a thought as to what it's going to look like. I just like to see where it takes me. And it starts to, you know, over time, like, you know, even just after a few minutes, it starts to make a really interesting, neat, organic pattern. So let's see what this will look like in a little bit. So I made 8 of these 6-petaled flowers, and now I've arranged them on my table, and I'm gonna try to put them together because I think it'd just be pretty. So I'm gonna show you how I would do that with eight things, how I would put them together for a larger piece. I also added another piece inside so that when it dries, I think it's gonna make for a really pretty window hanging. And here are the finished pieces. I think they look really cool, and they're also super fun to make. I really look forward to seeing what you come up with.